I'm your huckleberry.
This is the Smoking Guns Podcast.
No G with a Z. POD Smoking Guns Podcast. We're a podcast about San Antonio professional football centered around the San Antonio Gunslingers of the Indoor Football League, the Indoor War, the 1-1 San Antonio Gunslingers. After a win, a 28-21 win in San Jose against the Bay Area Panthers, the San Antonio Gunslingers are on their way back home as we speak. Our views are blowing up right now. It seems like there might be something that people want to talk about or hear about or know about.
I think so.
My name is Philip Higginbotham. I'm one of your hosts. I'm joined as always by my good friends, Leo Yamas.
What's up, Gunslingers posse, Smoking Guns posse? There's a lot up tonight, huh, Philip? RC.
There is a lot on tonight. Chase Risman, is it too late to be on the show tonight? Maybe not. Maybe we can figure that out. Leo, can you track down the link and get it over? Do you have Chase's information? You can get that over too?
I sure do.
Okay. Well, here we are, folks. Here I am.
I didn't get to blow my kisses to my
I'm
fans.
sorry. Also joined, as always, by RC Woods.
Mwah, my beautiful people.
So here we are. I am getting ready for the show today, taking some notes, deciding what we're going to talk about, thinking through what the show's going to be like. And I'm like, they had a really good win, and we're going to talk about that. But there's a bye week this week, so we don't really need to cover the next week's game because we're going to have all next week to do that. This might be a shorter show. We might be an hour and 20 minutes, hour and 30 minutes and out. And then I got a text message.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it, folks. You have probably seen the news by now. So many of you hopping online just to hear what we can hear and what we know. At 1 o'clock today, the San Antonio Gunslingers released a press release that announced that they are parting ways with head coach and general manager Tom Menas. He has been relieved of his duties. James Stubing writes, Don Rackler and I know it may seem odd to let a head coach go just 2 games into the season and immediately after a great road victory in San Jose, but our mission is to build a brand and culture that represents San Antonio and the Rackler and Stubing families. In order to do this, everyone has to be on the same page. We feel this change is the right thing to do for the future of our franchise and for our loyal fans. It is what it is. Tom Menas is no longer.
It's a business.
Wow.
I don't see this as a business decision. Because a business decision, you keep things in place. You don't introduce chaos. And whether this goes right or wrong, this introduces a certain amount of chaos into things.
Oh, yeah.
Coach Q in the building. Coach Q knows something about the San Antonio Gunslingers losing a coach very early in the season and needing to lean on a really good, solid coach to finish out the season. He knows all about that.
Yes, he does.
He's been a part of that sort of thing around this particular franchise before, way back in the day. Weston checking in. Nice jersey. Thank you. I love it. Second week in a row. I didn't even have to wonder what I was going to wear tonight. I knew what I was going to wear. So let me tell you what we know. Let me tell you what I'm not going to know, and you're probably never going to know. I know that Tom Menas met with James Stubing earlier today at Gunslinger Nation and was informed that they were going to make a decision to go another direction as far as general manager and head coach. They relieved him of his duties. I know that it was an organizational decision. I have seen some folks posit that maybe Tom got another offer, or maybe Tom made the decision, or maybe this was a mutual decision. My understanding is this was strictly an organizational decision. That Tom was surprised, and that both of them parted ways, both the team and Tom Menas parted ways amicably and have no ill will to one another. It just didn't work out. It just wasn't going to work out. If you came on because you were looking for the salacious details of what the straw was that broke the camel's back, I don't know.
We don't have them.
And you're never going to know.
Mm.
I don't believe that James Stubing, Don Rackler, or anybody around this team is ever going to tell you when and where they made this final decision and what exactly led to it. Suffices to say, what you got from James Stubing here in this press release is probably all of the addressing they're going to do. And the reason I feel that way is I reached out to the team and said, do you guys want to come on to clarify any of this? And the response I got back from the team is, we've said everything we need to say.
Actions speak louder than words.
Well, Philip, you read what you read.
Yep.
You know, and it mentions about, you know, having the same opinion on the direction that the team is going and sharing a philosophy. And that didn't match. And they decided to make the move now. Now, any organization that makes a move for that reason, for those reasons, like this at this time of the season, they are also not the kind of people that are going to come out and air specifics publicly.
No.
You know,
and to be fair, they're not going to do that. Not going to do that because they're adults and they handle things as adults do. And on the other side of this, Tom Menas is also an adult. He has already put out some information on social media wishing the team the best, saying what great owners and organization this has been to work for, and that he wants everybody to continue to support the organization. Tom Menas is also an adult, and they are handling this like adults. Whatever happened, whatever the final straw that broke the camel's back is, or whatever, both of these folks have looked at this situation and said, we're going to handle this like adults. So don't expect to hear a bunch of salacious details, and I heard it had something to do with this, and maybe it was about that. It's just not going to happen. I just don't think you're going to get that. You're going to get lots of folks, not on this show, probably, not one of these three people, but you're going to get a lot of folks that will throw out wild theories about, well, this must have happened and that must have happened. I've seen it all. I've seen some people going, oh, I think he was paying people under the table and they found out about it. I think it had something to do with that fight over with that Tulsa player at the end of last week's game. I bet that had something to do with it. I don't know. Maybe. I'm never going to know. There's no point in having those conversations because I don't think we're going to know. Suffices to say, Tom Menas came in to an organization that was making its transition into the IFL. He went 9-9 in the time that he was here, and everybody expected more success than that. And I think that was part of the decision. I think that the expectations were high. And
very high.
And Tom Menas needs to own some of that because he set those expectations very high. And we were 500 under Tom Menas, and you can probably rightly say, well, they needed to give him more time. Maybe not. But at this point, they had decided that this was not what they had signed on for. This was not the success they expected. And so that was definitely part of
and
that.
not only are they adults, they're all professional also. So that's when I said it's a business, I meant also to say it's not a personal issue. I think they had to do what was best for the team. And I think when those two ideas don't match, it's not a good fit. And it's better to take care of it now than to have it linger. This was a good time. We have a bye week. So the new coach has time to start looking at what they need to do.
Well, that's
so
key.
Timing is also important.
That's key. They have a bye week this week, which means head coach James Fuller, which will take some getting used to say, but not as much as some of you might think. James Fuller has time to set everything the way he needs it in the organization to move forward. And it's important to note that when you read the press release, and when I talked with ownership earlier today and I mentioned the word interim, I was very quickly rebuffed and said, at no point have we referred to James Fuller as the interim head coach of this organization. There is no interim on his title. James Fuller is the head coach of the San Antonio Gunslingers. This is not placing someone in this position just to ride out the rest of the season, and then we'll do another search. Now, that may happen, but as far as they're concerned right now, this is James Fuller's job going forward, is what I was led to believe. So that's great.
Yeah. And if you have a guy in the fold that you can just plug in of the caliber of Coach Fuller, then, right move at the right time, going by what the Gunslingers said, and the having a disagreement in culture and the philosophy of the team and where they were going, which only reaffirms my fandom and my confidence in this team and this organization and the people that are running it, because that's obviously a hard decision to make. And I'll give it's a strange time to do that 2 games into the season.
It is.
That's not ideal.
No.
But if it's the right time and you've got a coach the caliber of Coach Fuller there and on staff that could step in, and you give him a week to develop whatever it needs to be his own coaching philosophy or implement what he wants to implement, then you give him that bye week to start and do those things. So this just reaffirms my confidence in this organization, that they truly believe what they're telling us they believe in, and that the goal is real. And that just shows me that they really mean it.
Is this Fuller's second or third year with the team?
Second. He came with Tomanos at the beginning of the in fact, it was September or so of last year. We hired Tomanos, and he released his coaching staff. James Fuller was the assistant head coach and offensive coordinator that he released. The very first word. Weston Cologne, part of the organization. I wish nothing but the best for Tomanos, but now I'm looking at the future and excited to see what head coach Fuller, Coach Bain, Coach Johnson are going to do. I've got all the confidence in the world that Coach Fuller can lead this team. Let's not forget he ran the best offense in the league last year. You are right. You are right, Weston. He did, but he does not currently have the best offense in the league this year. And this puts an extra thing on his plate at a time when I really needed him to be focused on the offense growing and maturing and getting better. And so that is something for him to navigate. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it was a good decision or a bad decision. I don't know. I don't know all the ins and outs, so I can't really make that determination. I will say that I am very confident in James Fuller, and I will also say the offense needs work, and I really wish he could focus wholly on that. It doesn't feel like he's going to get an opportunity to do that.
Well, some of the other guys that Weston, mentioned, you just hear the list.
Yeah.
He mentions Jonathan Bain and Coach Johnson. I mean, he's got an outstanding staff.
Yes.
To help him along. So I feel good about the move. If the Gunslingers felt this was the best move and the time to make it, then as a Gunslingers fan, you got to support it 100%. You're already seeing comments on social media and on the IFL pages and other pages where they're saying, wow, this is, curious timing. And it is, we grant that, this is a big mistake. He built a culture there. And yes, he definitely was a big part of building the culture that we have here in Gunslinger Nation. But he wasn't the only part of that.
I will say this. You're right about the folks that have said, this is a bad move. Well, that remains to be seen. Or, curious timing. Of course it is. It's very curious timing. Yeah. I will take issue with this idea of he built a culture here. He was part of a culture that was built here, but he at no point was building a culture apart from the leadership that remains in place. Don Rackler, James Stubing, now Randy Carroll as part of the ownership group, had the vision for this team going forward. And Tom himself always told us that he loved the vision they had, and it was why he wanted to be here. So he came in and made, fell in line with that culture and helped build that culture and was a big part of building it. But stop with the, oh, he built a culture here. A, he was here 18 months. You don't build a culture in 18 months. B, there were other people in leadership building that culture with that vision before he got here. And he, by his own admission, said that he loved the culture that they were wanting to build and wanted to be a part of it. So it's not like the culture that they are building here around the Gunslingers was his idea and he brought this fresh perspective.
Right. There weren't new ideas.
No, he fell in line with that and was a big part of helping that get along. I'm not trying to minimize what Tom has done over 18 months.
No.
Don't hear me say that. Just, I'm not going to put it all on his shoulders either and say, well, he's the one that made this whole God family football sort of mantra and thing. This was a direction that the Racklers and the Steubings were already headed in, and he liked that and wanted to be a part of that culture. So that is one of those comments. The rest of them, this is terrible timing. It might be. This is a bad decision. It could be. All of those things, I don't know. But this idea of, wow, that's crazy. He built a culture there. Pump the brakes. He was part of building a culture here, but let's be careful. And I want to say something right on the top. I know that this is going to be a big topic for conversation. We do need to get to the football game here in a few minutes. But everybody wants to talk about this. And I just want to kind of address the elephant in the room as far as my personal relationship. Look, Tom and I sniped at each other a lot. We did it more than you know.
Yeah.
I always wanted the best. I wanted him here. I was excited when he was coming here. I don't think he ever really valued anything that I brought around the organization, and that's fair. Like, I'm just a voice. I'm just a talking head in a lot of ways, both calling the games and here on our show. And so I understand that has very little value to the head football coach. I get that. I totally understand that. But it grated on me to a point where I got frustrated and I kind of disengaged as much as I could with him. I didn't watch Branded live anymore for the most part. I would pop in every once in a while, but anytime I had anything to share, it seemed like that bothered him, that it was just coming from me. And so I shared less, and then eventually I just stopped. And so our relationship was fraught. We didn't get along as well as I really wish we had. I like Tom. I think he's an old-fashioned football coach, and that's something that I really appreciated and wanted to see work out. I wish nothing but the best for him and for Susan and for his family, for Phil. And I want him to be successful, but we didn't get along really well. I'm sorry for my part of that, because I know I own part of that. And I'm sorry for my part of that, but I'm not dancing on the roof either. I'm not dancing on the ceiling because, woo, Tom's gone. That's not how I feel today. I really wish, I really thought that we would win a championship within the next couple of seasons and that Tom would be the one holding that trophy. I thought that was the case. This has surprised me more than anything. The timing is weird, and I did not expect it to take place this soon, if it ever took place at all. So,
hey, Hector Garcia in the comments as well. Thanks for joining us, Hector. Thinks it looks like he has to go. Another big part of building the culture that we have here for the San Antonio Gunslingers, the E3.
Yeah, I do not have Chase backstage. I just saw that message. Nope.
Okay.
So, I mean, it is what it is. I know Tom will land on his feet. I know there are probably folks that have already been on the phone with him, asking him if he wants to be a part of their organization. I hope that works out. I feel like we're in a good spot there. The only thing that really worries me is that Tom had put most of the defense on his shoulders this year. And to be fair, the defense has been spectacular.
Much improved, yes.
And I wonder if we're going to see a drop-off from that spectacular defense because the person that was coordinating and calling those plays has now moved on. I wonder if we're going to see something happen along that line that worries me, because right now it is the thing that we have to hang our hat on a little bit as a team. Our offense is still growing, gelling, getting together, and the defense is something that is working, and so that's a little concerning. That's a thing I'm worried about on some level. So what are your thoughts, RC? What did you think when you heard the news?
I was shocked. We brought up some same points. The timing is a little odd, but then you can look at it maybe to give Coach Fuller some more time, right? I do believe that he was a big part of the defense, and I am curious to see where that goes. But I do have a lot of confidence in Coach Fuller. I know he has a lot of experience with this league, with football, with our team. And I just hope that at the end of the season, when we're holding the trophy, we'll say it was a good choice. It was a good decision to make.
I said this before we started the show when I was talking to Leo about all this. If we win a ring this year, Tom Manas absolutely deserves one of those rings. He deserves.
You did say that.
He built the team. He put this team together. He put the coaching staff in place. He put James Fuller as his assistant head coach. If this all works out, where we end up holding the trophy high at the beginning or at the end of the year, Tom deserves credit for that, because he was a part of that. Don't get that twisted. Like Tom still has a responsibility for what we are seeing. Yeah,
brought a lot of these players to our team.
Yes, as a general manager, this team, as it stands right now, is the team that he built. He put together primarily,
and he had relationships with these players and relationships with the families, and so I like to see how that continues.
Look who we got checking in there. Caleb Roller, hope all is well. Miss you guys.
Big
Keep
Red.
calling out Callie Rashad Sr. Caleb Roller, since last we talked, I have a grandson now. He just turned a 1-year-old this week. You know what his name is? Caleb. Not because of you, but I think it's cool. Every once in a while.
That's how much of an impression you made.
You pop into my mind because I'll be yelling at Caleb for, trying to get my drink or all of the things that 1-year-olds do. And I'm like, oh, Caleb. I remember Caleb. Well, we're going to bring on
Big Red.
Chase Risman. He is part of, Sports Coast to Coast, right? I'll ask him. He's waiting in the green room. Yeah. I can just ask Chase Risman. Chase Risman joining us, part of Sports Coast to Coast, covers the San Antonio Gunslingers. Hey, anything big going on today, Chase?
I found out about this about 20 minutes ago. So the night has changed a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, there's a question I want to ask. Speaking of, Tom Manas checking in on the show. Great organization, great owners, great team. Nothing but respect for the entire group. Coach Fuller is going to do a great job. I just want everyone to know what an honor it's been. Look forward to seeing y'all down the road. God bless Gunslinger Nation. Again, like I said earlier, Tom Manas is an adult, and the organization is full of adults, and they're going to handle this like adults handle this. And we love that the class that Tom Manas is expressing here, and we want nothing, Coach. Personally, Coach, I want nothing but you and your family to be happy, and you to be successful. And maybe we see you down the road somewhere in Tucson in a couple of years or in a year, and you're coaching on the other sideline. And that'll be a fun story for all of us. I really want nothing but the best for you and for your wonderful family, your great grandkids, your lovely wife, and yourself, Coach. We had, I'm sure you heard me talking about it earlier, a fraught relationship. That doesn't really matter at this point. I do want nothing but the best for you, and I'm very glad for the 18 months that I got to know you, talk with you, and spend some time with you. I wish it had been more positive. I wish we had found a way to speak the same language, because I think at times we were just kind of talking across purposes. And I'm sorry to see things kind of. I've almost texted you a couple of times this afternoon and just thought, no, I'll see if he reaches out on the show or something like that. Wish nothing but the best for you, Coach, and really do love what you brought to the team. Absolutely.
Are you referring to the IFL National Championship when you were talking about how maybe we'll see him in Tucson?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd like to see the game in San Antonio. I mean, maybe
that would be great.
Yes, maybe they can find a way to make that happen in a couple years. But yeah, I wish him nothing but the best. I mean, I never thought I'd have to say that, 2 games into the season and one day after a win over one of the best teams in the IFL. But yeah, absolutely. Best of luck to him.
Yeah. So are you hearing anything? I know what I'm hearing. I have connections at the team, but you have other connections and different connections and may have heard anything different. Are you hearing anything more or deeper than some of the information that we've been able to glean so far?
I haven't heard or seen anything. I mean, honestly, I've just, if any of you follow, for any of you or anybody watching the show right now or listening to the show right now that follows me on Twitter, I've just put out, breaking news. Tom Manos has been let go as head coach and general manager of the Gunslingers. Philip Higginbotham says it was an organizational decision. Also, he said that James Fuller is not the interim head coach. He's actually the head coach now. I have not, other than that, I haven't seen anything and I haven't heard anything. I mean, this is the last thing that I thought was going to happen tonight. I mean,
agreed.
This has totally changed. Again, this happened at 1, right? Like I found out like over 20 minutes ago.
The time on the press release, let me pull it out because I don't want to misquote anything, but I think the time on the press release, is 1:09 p.m. That was posted to their website, or at least that's the time that is listed on it right now. So yes.
Wow.
I did not see it. It did not go out on social media as far as I know until we posted it as a show. It was there on the website at 1:09, but I got a text from the team. Hey, are you guys doing a show tonight? And I said, yeah, absolutely. Anything we need to cover, because that's always what I do when the organization reaches out to me. Hey, anything you guys want us to cover? And I got the link to the press release, and then made a phone call to ownership and said, what you talking about, Willis? This cannot be what I think I'm seeing, but it is. It is.
Yeah. So I don't know enough to really take a side, but I mean, getting fired after a win to get to 1-1 on the year is odd. I mean, they just won in San Jose against the Bay Area Panthers, against the quarterback that prevented them from making the playoffs last year, and I don't think.
And they gave him fits too.
I'm sorry?
I said they gave him fits too all game.
Yeah. Yeah, they shut him down last night. For them to fire or let him go after a win in San Jose against the Panthers to get to 1-1 on the season is not what I expected tonight. I mean,
well,
yeah.
I will just float an idea I've had.
All right.
This is not anything that I have from any reliable source. This is Philip's own brain working, and I hope I don't get in trouble for just guessing here. But based on the timing of the game late last night and the decision being made today and the bye week that we are experiencing, that we are in, I tend to believe that this decision may have been made before last night. I don't know that. I'm just reading tea leaves here and I'm going, I don't know that you had enough. Either that or something really big happened that we'll never know about in relation to the game last night or the trip. And I don't think that's the case. So I tend to believe that they may have already kind of made this decision and said, well, we'll do this after California. We'll let coach handle things in California, and then we'll make him aware of the decision that we've made to give James Fuller the full bye week to get everything settled. And that's kind of best for us timing wise. I don't know that. I'm not sure of that, but just kind of reading the tea leaves, I tend to believe this decision was probably made sometime last week.
Is
That
there
would make some
anything that,
sense.
yeah, I'm sorry, Leo. Is there anything that makes you think the decision was made before the game last night? Or is that just
there's nothing that happened in the game last night to me that would have been a straw to break the camel's back. They won. We haven't talked about the game yet, but just general impressions. They won the game. They handled adversity. They were down in the first half. They almost allowed Bay Area to come back in the end of the game. They handled that adversity well. I don't see anything in the game itself that makes me think that somebody would throw up their hands and go, man, this guy just can't get it done, because in a way, they got everything done that they needed to get done last night. They walked away with a win against a very good team you've already brought up. Bay Area is a solid team, and this is really a Bay Area, Northern Arizona sort of melding from last year. Two teams that were pretty good that have now kind of, merged in some sort of weird way and should be a very good team going through the season. They were starting off their season last night, so they may have been off their footing a little bit, but San Antonio came back in the first half and then held them off at the end of the game. I don't see anything that leads me to believe that would have been where you just throw up your hands and go, man, we just can't win with this guy, because you did. So I tend to believe with the bye week, the bye week is what really gives me the impression that maybe this decision was made because they informed everyone of this decision at the point where they could give the maximum run-up time for James Fuller to do what he needs to do to be ready for the next game on the schedule.
Yeah, and on the flip side of that coin, Philip, with what you said earlier, nothing happened in this game that if they had made that decision after the week 1 loss, nothing in this game happened to kind of meet the extremely high expectations of this organization going into the season. Nothing really happened in that game that would change their mind and say, well, maybe we are there after all. We just need a little more time. If they had made that decision after the loss in game 1, I didn't see a whole lot in game 2 that would make them flip their opinion on that.
Well, let's be fair. Sometimes with context, you can go back and look at things and you can go, that might have been the straw that broke the camel's back. Remember, in week 1, the offense was ineffective. The defense looked better, but still had some moments where it gave up some boners. Like, they had some problems. And I hate to bring this up because it seems like I'm blaming this on Tom Manas, and I'm not. But I think it bears mentioning the coin flip issue.
Oh, gosh.
Is there. It exists. It happened. Mm-hmm. It is something that happened in week 1. And it's not a big leap for me. Again, I have no information from the team that leads me to believe that this had anything to do with it. But it's not a big leap for me to believe they found out about the coin flip issue and went, that's a leadership issue. That's a leadership problem.
Yeah. And
I can see them making that determination.
Yeah. And they had a week after that to, if they wanted to let him go then, and they didn't. Can you guys hear me all right? Because the fan is going off.
Yes.
No, we hear you great.
Is that preventing you from hearing me?
Nope, not at all.
Okay, awesome. Just wanted to be sure of that. Honestly, I'm still in shock, as I'm sure the rest of Gunslinger Nation, the rest of Gunslinger Posse, the IFL and the rest of the indoor and or the indoor and or arena football world is over this. So I don't really I have to process this before I can possibly think of why
Sure.
this would happen at all.
Jason Wood asks a question. I don't recall seeing any defensive coaches on the field in the past game, including Tom Manhas. Was that an IFL decision, or did I see it wrong? You didn't see it wrong. I never saw defensive coaches on the field. I will tell you that Coach Manhas had planned on being on the field from what we were told, running the defense on the field. That was his plan. I will also tell you that Coach played football, professional football, for many, many years, and that beats up your body pretty bad. And so if you watch that first game, I even made a little bit of a joke at Coach Manhas's expense in the broadcast, which I probably should not have done. But there was a point where the snap was coming, the snap was imminent, and he was in the wrong spot and realized it, and he went to run out of the way. If you go back and watch that particular moment, you see a guy whose body has been beat up by football, and is not feeling very good, is not, and so it may have just been best for him to coach from the sidelines. Now, remember, in Bay Area, in San Jose, they are on the middle of the field. They are not off on the end like they are in some other arenas. They're right on the middle of the field, and so he is still able to interact with players and be kind of in the midst of things, even from the sideline or the coach's box or whatever you would call it in Bay Area. So that may have been his decision of, hey, I don't really need to get out there because I'm right here, slightly elevated where I can see everything I want to.
It's the SAP Center. It's the same place where the Sharks play, the San Jose Sharks play.
Right.
Like I said, I mean, it's been almost over 40, close to more than 40 minutes since I found out about this. So
sure.
It's like I don't even know, what could have possibly gone into this. I mean, the only thing I'm going to say is firing a coach after getting a win to get to 500 and beating, as I said, like the Bay Area Panthers, one of the best teams in the IFL. And again, also, as I said, the quarterback that kept the Gunslingers out of the playoffs last year.
Yep.
They just beat him. They shut him down. And
they did.
Let him go after that that's not what I expected tonight.
Oh, I don't think any of us expected this. I sure didn't expect it. I thought we were going to have a nice light show tonight. Hey, we'll talk about a win.
Yeah.
We'll talk about, how much we love
Surprise.
winning. And then surprise. Jordan Stubing checking in. I know things are crazy and confusing right now, but the decision was not made lightly. Here's to having a fuller season. Fuller in quotation marks. Love you.
Like that. Yeah. We love you too, Jordan.
And remember, you can really read between the lines when people say certain things. And here, Jordan Stubing, who is as inside this decision as anybody is, says this decision was not made lightly. You do not make decisions that weigh in 24 hours, in less than 24 hours. So again, he's not saying the decision was made last week, but I know that when you make a decision that you do not take lightly, you take more than 24 hours on it. And so again, reading
not
the
a knee-jerk reaction.
Reading the tea leaves here, I see the possibility that this decision has been was made before today.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, Chase, Sports Coast to Coast, you were on Twitter. Where do they find you on Twitter?
You can find me on Twitter you can follow me on Twitter at Real Chase Risman. I've already posted I've already tweeted the breaking news. I've tweeted quotes from you, the press release, and I'm going to have
love to be quoted. I'm not worth being quoted, but I love to be quoted. That's great.
Yes. And I'm going to have a story about this tomorrow morning for Sports Coast to Coast.
Sure.
Man,
Awesome.
this is not what I expected tonight.
No, not at all. Not at all. Well, Chase, thanks for popping on. We've enjoyed having you on. We need to have you more this season.
Yes.
It was good seeing you a week ago there at the Freeman Coliseum.
Yes, absolutely.
Up there in the nosebleed section of the Freeman. Still a great view, though, right?
Yes.
Yes,
it's a great view. It's a great view, and I can't complain about it.
Absolutely. Chase Risman,
There's no
go give
bad
him
view in the Freeman.
No, not at all.
No.
Go give Chase Risman a follow on X or Twitter or whatever you call it. Whatever it is. And read his stuff on Sports Coast to Coast. Chase, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate your time, man.
No problem.
Chase.
Thank you, guys.
So we'll talk more about this. We're not done talking head coach information or news. We know that all of you have opinions. We know that many of you are hanging on to find out just what is going on. We told you about all we know, and we've got a football game to cover. So let's dive into the football game for a few minutes, and then maybe we circle back around and talk a little bit about Coach Manas again at the end. And discuss some more of that. Let's talk about this football game.
Yeah.
Leo,
what you game?
You think so, RC?
I liked it. There's some, of course, I look at the football differently, in the sense of for entertainment purposes. I liked how at the stadium they had that banner, that ticket banner that kept saying, "Welcome to the jungle." I think that got me pumped right away. I liked how we got the deuce in the first quarter. I did not like how they scored right away on us. But it was, I enjoyed it. I liked how that it was a close game. What was concerned me the most was the last couple of minutes when they almost came back, and then they threw that Hail Mary, and thank God they didn't catch it, because we would be talking about a different story probably. But I thought it was entertaining. Not your same thoughts?
I loved getting the deuce right out of the gate. That's always a lot of fun, and it's a great way for a brand new kicker. Remember, when we came on the air last week, we were talking about the jackal and saying from That's Coach, we had information from Coach that said, hey, go easy on him. Apparently, go easy on him means we're going to go find a different kicker.
Yeah, the direct message from Coach, go easy on him. It's just one game. He needs some time.
He got the boot.
Then he gets the boot a day later.
He did. He got the boot and moved on. We moved on to Huddle. I guess I'm pronouncing that right. He hits the deuce right away. We got a rouge out of the deal. We got a couple of field goals. All in all, not a perfect kicking night, but a great debut for a kicker. And Leo, it's kind of good to see a kicker out there that has a different shape, a different kind of body shape.
More representative of what some of us South Texans look like.
I like the thicker kicker. I'm a fan of the thicker kicker.
I saw that comment. I saw that comment. Yeah, it was good to. He was definitely a huge part of the game. I will say, you asked RC her impression of the game. I will wrap up my impression in one sentence. I have never seen an indoor football game look so much like your standard outdoor football game before.
Okay.
I mean, down to the final score, 28-21.
Yeah, 28-21 is a standard
low scoring game.
Football game.
Yeah, lots of defensive stops, outstanding defense by both teams. This is not indicative or what you would expect from arena football, indoor football.
True.
No, but I think you need to be looking. I think we talked about this a lot in the offseason or leading in. I think you need to be looking for more scores like this from the Indoor Football League. I think some of the rules changes they made mean that we're going to see lower scoring games like that. And I'm okay with it. I'm okay with defense being a part of the game because it should be. It's part of football. And to take the defense out of it like the arena game does, I don't love. I mean, don't get me wrong. Look, I love seeing 76 points on the scoreboard. Like, that's fun. Don't hear me wrong, but I also enjoy something that more closely aligns with traditional football, and that's what we kind of saw last night. I think you're absolutely right, Leo.
Yep.
Weston Cologne, thicker kicker. I don't know who said it first. I thought I came up with it, but Leo said he saw it somewhere before that.
It was in the chat on the IFL network. Somebody said thicker kicker on there.
See, I didn't read anything on the IFL network. Speaking of the IFL network, this is the place I guess is as good as any. Let me stretch a little bit.
You look so thin in that jersey.
I got something to say. Maybe I'm just getting thinner. Have you thought of that?
Maybe you are, Philip. I apologize.
I got to stretch a little bit because I got a rant.
Oh, Lord. Here we go.
Indoor football
Everybody
league.
get comfortable.
Indoor Football League and copy to Todd Tryon. Get me a Roku app for my TV. For 2 straight games now, I have had to cast the game to my TV from my phone. First time it worked out okay. That's because I did it from the internet on my phone and cast it from there. Last night, I used the new IFL app for my phone. And I am very lucky that I did not take my phone and throw it through my TV, because about every 20 minutes, my phone and my TV would stop communicating with each other, and I would have to go back to the beginning of the game and find the spot where I was in the game. And I wasn't trying to fast forward to commercials or do any of that kind of mess. I was just trying to watch the game. I was watching it on a little bit of a delay, but I was just trying to watch the game. Mm-hmm. And the technology was not working together. And you know what? You know what'll fix that? Giving me an app for my television. Yeah. I know it can be done.
It's true.
Fuel Sports Network, that we used to be a part of, was a fan-run sports network with very little money, and they had an app on my Roku TV. You can get an app on my Roku TV. You can do it. I know you can. I've seen other organizations do it, and you have partnered with somebody that you believe brings your game to the platform. Great. Everything else about IFL Network I have loved. I absolutely love the IFL Network. Hear that. But I need an app for my TV, or I'm going to get really, really frustrated really quickly. It is week 3. Give me an app for my TV. I'm paying for it now. I am actually a paying customer now, so now I can get irate about it. It's time. Get it done.
So, Philip, lots of people are saying in the comments that the web version is a lot better. That's what I did was I went to the web site, the web version, played it on my phone, and then cast my phone screen to my TV screen, and I had no issues with the stream whatsoever. I was even able to every now and then check the phone and check on the chat, which is why I saw the thicker kicker comment. But I will say this: I didn't have any issues watching the stream. Where I did have an issue was normally when I've watched remote games, I like to get on our Slack channel and chat with you about what's going on.
And if my phone is tied up,
and if my
broadcasting
phone is
into TV, I can't do that.
I can't do that. And I kept at halftime. I checked. I was like, I wonder if Philip has messaged me, and he doesn't realize like I can't because I'm casting this off my phone. And I went and looked at it, and I saw no message from you, and I said he's probably doing the same thing. And so I just went back.
Oh, y'all couldn't talk during the game.
But James Palmer said he used a browser on his Fire TV. Let me know what browser you're using, James, because I'd like to try that myself, because I do have a Fire TV.
That's great.
So
I don't have a Fire TV. I got Roku, and I know you can do a Roku app. I know. Look, I give him a hard time all the time. Dirty,
Yes.
Sturge, whatever he
Citizen.
wants to call himself now. But that dude got me an app on my Roku for Fuel Sports Network. If that dude can do it, the IFL can do it. Do it. Make it happen. I'm a paying customer now.
Make it more interactive.
Don't make me an irate paying customer. I'm not going to stop paying, which, I mean, you've got me over a barrel. I know that, and you know that. I'm going to keep paying for it, but I'm going to get upset. I'm still within my 30-day window. I could still pull my money. I'm not going to. I love that some of you guys have internet apps on your TV. That's wonderful. I don't. I shouldn't need one. I should have an app for the IFL network on my Roku. I love that y'all have it. I love that you've got this figured out. I don't. And the fact that I can't use my phone and I'm losing the signal every 20 minutes and have to go find where I am in the game is a frustration that I should not have to deal with in 2025. I know these are first world problems. I totally understand that. Like, my football game on my TV is not working. Like, I know it's first world problems, but it's a problem. I'm upset.
Aw.
I want it. I want it back.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Michael, I'll chime in with my complaint.
Okay.
My complaint is the same complaint that I had last week with, I think, this new focus on their IT people or their technology department. They have whoever's responsible for that. They're not paying attention to the stats anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking back and I still don't see stats, and it's not just our game. So you could argue where our game just happened, last night, but even for the earlier games, there's no stats up on the website at all.
Right.
If you click on the stats page, the 2025 stats, you get one of those pages that, sorry, something went wrong. So nobody at the IFL is paying attention to the stats, and there's some of us who like to look at those things after the games.
Give us our stats. You used to give them to us.
Yeah.
Give them to us again, please.
Well, if we're complaining, I have a complaint too then.
Okay.
So during halftime, I barely saw the cheerleaders. I wanted to look at the cheerleaders, compare them with our 6 shooters. They were on for like maybe 2 or 3 seconds. They were in this little dark square. I think they were wearing pants or jogging suits. I'm not sure, which wasn't very feminine. But my complaint is that they should at least give the respect to the cheerleaders. There's some people who like that. We do it for the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. Why can't we do it for all the cheerleaders? I love our cheerleaders. I wanted to have a whole, at least 10 minutes comparing those Panther cheerleaders with our 6 shooters.
It sounds like,
and I couldn't do that from this little square like this big.
You are going to have to reach out to every team and complain about it on every broadcast, because every team does their own broadcast. Nolan, can we talk about the elephant in the room? If you're talking about an elephant that rhymes with bomb badass, we've talked about that, and we will talk about it again. What are your thoughts?
I'll tell you right off the bat, RC, and no disrespect intended to any of the Panthers cheerleaders organization. You said you wanted to compare. They're obviously not as good as our 6 shooters. Obviously. I will say, though, and I'm not making a comparison, I'm just saying I thought their broadcast, outside of the technical issues, which, I know how difficult that can be, so I'm not going to judge anybody on that. I thought their broadcast was I thought their broadcast was more than decent. I thought they were good.
I got a couple of issues with their broadcast. Small things, maybe, but they were big things to me. When a player is injured, you don't need to show me down the tunnel where he's getting treatment. I don't need to see it. Once they go beyond the bench, you don't need to follow them down the tunnel. They need their privacy, and this is bigger than the game. I don't need that view. And so I did not find that okay. And your color analyst, and hey, maybe it's just me because that's what I do for the Gunslingers, so I was paying extra attention and I was hyper-focused on it. But your color analyst, when DJ Myers came back into the game, said, I sure hope he passed all the tests and he was cleared with a clean bill of health. What are you implying? Are you implying that our training staff and our coaches don't care about our players' safety? Because I guarantee you that's not the case. So what exactly were you implying with those words? Because you said it.
I could see that, yeah.
I sure hope.
Yeah.
I sure hope he passed all the tests and everything. What do you say? Are you saying that we don't care about our players' safety? Because I guarantee you, I know these coaches,
Not true.
I know this training staff, and I know this ownership, and player safety is paramount. So
I certainly understand that and don't disagree with you on that. But DJ did not return in the second half. I'm very concerned on about DJ, and hopefully, he's going to do better. Someone mentioned earlier in the chat, but we certainly our prayers are with DJ. I think his
mom said he was okay.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And I see Jason Wood mentioning the broadcast about the bad sound and not knowing that they were on a hot mic.
We had some of those issues.
Yeah, I'm not going to judge him on the technical stuff.
Yeah,
it's the first game of the season, and we know how difficult that stuff can be.
Holly says the broadcast last night was not good. The IFL broadcaster was on an open mic talking to someone in the studio. No clue he was on camera, that he was on a hot mic. Hey, that's tough. I think until you sit with those microphones in front of you, sometimes you don't realize, you just don't know. Like, you can hear you no matter whether you're on the air or not. And sometimes you trust people to interrupt the feed and take you off the air, and they just forget to hit a button. Like, those things happen. I don't like it either. I'm not excusing it, but they happen.
So I thought their analysis of what was happening on the field, their comments about the stuff on the field,
for the most part,
it was solid. I thought it was solid.
For the most part, I guess.
It's okay.
They sure were a homer call, but you were going to get that,
Yeah, for sure.
I do hope DJ's okay. I did not like them following, not that they sent a cameraman down the tunnel, but they shot that, and they did it to their own player too later in the game. And I just don't need that. I don't need that view. Don't show me players getting treatment. I don't need to see that. That needs to be something that they do on their own. You should have enough restraint as a broadcast to go, we're not showing that. We don't need to show that.
What an odd venue that is too, by the way. Speaking of that, where you could actually see back into that little tunnel right behind where they were sitting. And I noticed that they have no floor seating around the wall. It goes from the wall to raised seating, which is rare in indoor football. So I thought and that may have had something to do with why coaches weren't on the field on defense, because it's hard to get in and out, those walls. We saw players, kind of like in hockey where they jumping over the wall to get under the bench. You're certainly not going to expect coaches to do that. So
James Palmer, I thought it was cool, honestly. Are you talking about seeing down the tunnel? You thought that was cool? Is that what we're talking about? Because I can tell you why it's not. And we didn't end up seeing it last night, but I can absolutely I can tell you why you shouldn't think it's cool, because players deserve privacy. And when they think they're off camera, the tough act goes away. And I don't need to see a player that is genuinely injured who thinks that they are not in a front-facing way out where the world can see them legitimately dealing with their injury. So if that's what you're talking about, and you may not be. Alex says he thinks you're talking to him. So maybe you are. Talking about the kid being on the broadcast. Oh, yeah. I got no problem with that. Those kind of things are fun. So let's talk about football on the field. RC, you mentioned getting the deuce right out of the box. That was a lot of fun.
That was fun.
You talked about not liking the touchdown we gave up right after that for them to go up 7-2.
Yes, too quick.
You know what? I didn't mind it, and here's why. There were two defenders there. It was contested. They had to make the play over our guys to do it. It wasn't a free touchdown. They had to actually earn it, and they earned it. And so I got no issue with that. Like, we contested it. They beat us on the play. Those things happen. It's going to happen in this game. What did you think about that, Leo? I know you had some thoughts about them getting beat in game one. I felt like the secondary was almost locked down for most of the game here. Even the catches that were made were contested.
The secondary was phenomenal. I mean,
Yeah.
that was an unfortunate play. It's going to happen. I think it was on 4th down even. So that was up until that moment. It was definitely a good defensive stand until that one play, which the more I think about it, I'm almost certain it was on 4th down. But it, like Jason Wood is saying, it was just great execution. It was a well thrown ball, and unfortunately, they got us to start off when we thought we had them stopped.
Yeah, it really felt like we were going to stop them and we were going to take over down on their end of the field, and we were going to go up by a full touchdown at least, and bam, they just hit us over the top. But 2 defenders there, like it was contested, much better than anything we gave up in the same sort of manner last year at this time. 2 games into the season last year. I got nervous there in the first half. It felt like, are we gonna just let them keep getting further and further ahead of us? But everything changed, Leo, and you brought this up before we went on the air. Everything changed with Clifton Duck.
The duck.
Quack, quack.
Quack,
Love
quack,
Clifton Duck. Oh my God, did he come through?
Love the interception.
He did.
It changed the momentum.
It did. It changed the whole game. Like the whole game shifted on that interception. It was spectacular. It was a great interception.
That gives me an idea. I'm going to pass out ducks at our next game.
Are you?
Yellow ducks.
They got quack attacked. I like that. And James Palmer giving us a quack quack. Very, very nice. And then from that point, we saw the Gunslingers take over the game for a good solid. Like there was a point late in the fourth quarter. I think there's 6, 7, maybe 5 minutes left. We've doubled them up. It's 28-14. And I'm like,
5 minutes. It was exactly 5 minutes.
I'm like, man, we can cruise here. Like, just score every time we touch the ball, and they can't do anything.
Yeah. I mean, they shut them out completely in the third quarter.
And then.
Yeah.
The interception, or not the interception, the fumble. I talk very fluently, and I really love Keyshawn Harper. And so I'm not going to give him a hard time for dropping a ball. It happens.
I would hand him the ball on that same play, exact same situation, 10 times over.
Yep.
Keyshawn Harper runs the ball with power, with authority, especially later in the game. And, sometimes you get hit just in the right spot.
Right.
And the ball comes loose, and that's what happened. And Panthers jumped on it. They were quicker to the ball than our guys were to land on it, and it's just unfortunate, but that's what happened. I'm not blaming Harper at all.
Missions Highlighter has an even better idea for you here, RC. Instead of bringing ducks, get those duck calls, those little cheap plastic duck calls, party favorite duck calls. There you go. That's even better.
I like that. I like how you're thinking.
Make some noise.
I have to say something, Philip, real quick. Before I forget. A comment in there from Loli. She said, I called it too. She's talking about.
Okay, what's that all about?
She's talking about Clifton Duck's interception in the end zone on that play. And just before that play, she says, we're getting an interception. She's like, we're getting a pick right here. And sure enough, we got the pick. And she's like, I called it. And our son was watching the game with us, and he turned around. He goes, Mom, you call it before every play. Doesn't count when you're calling it every play.
Greg Nelson says, I'm on it. Just ordered duck calls.
Nice.
Alex McSwain pointing out that the defense had a DB change between week 1 and 2. We saw more of Ravarius Rivers and less of Phelps. That is correct. You are not wrong. Ravarius Rivers and Clifton Duck in the backfield works very well. I think we need to keep running with that because that was very, very good. It worked out very, very well. Both of those guys are spectacular.
Yes.
Keyshawn Harper drops the ball. If you are mad at Keyshawn Harper, I tell you what, I'm going to give you a ball, and then I'm going to let Ravarius Rivers hits you as hard as he can with his shoulder pad right in the ball, and you better hold on to it. And if you don't, you can't give Keyshawn Harper a hard time. Sometimes the wrong thing hits the wrong thing, and a shoulder pad right on the ball, more often than not, that thing's going to squirt loose. It's not his fault. These things happen. So they score. Worse than the fumble to me is we give up the onside kick. We allow them to recover the onside kick. We know it's coming.
Yeah.
And they get the onside kick, and then I got nervous.
Well, that play, I think, was the low point of the game for me because the coverage was terrible. Like that was bad coverage on that onside kick. They made it easy for him.
And again, we knew it was coming. Like there was no doubt in our mind they were going to have to do an onside kick and retain possession, and if they wanted to win this game. And so, that was worse to me than the fumble, was giving up the onside kick.
Yes.
I didn't love the way we used our timeouts in the second half. I sure would have liked to have had some of those in my pocket going into the last, 4 or 5 minutes, but we didn't. Is what it is. Nolan, Synth, I hope I said that right. Don't get mad at me if I didn't. Nobody crashed on the ball. They all just watched on the onside kick. You're right. You're absolutely right. They just kind of watched and waited for it to come to them, and the other team went to the ball, and that's how they wound up with it.
Yep.
How about the horrible snap to make it deep and then they throw a touchdown?
That was the low point for the Panthers, besides losing the game. But
besides losing the game,
they shot themselves in the foot there. That was very fortunate for us.
Right.
And they had a couple of those fouls, roughing the passer.
Yeah, they hit Malik Henry.
I thought they were playing a little dirty. I don't know.
I wouldn't call it dirty. I just think that they are.
Can I say
physical,
ramped up. Like they ramped up. Alex McSwain, my only complaint of the broadcast after the Harper fumble, the broadcast went back to watch his face after every good player the Panthers had.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not the decision I would make as a director, but I get it. It's part of the story of the game is, hey, this wouldn't have happened if this guy had held onto the ball. I understand how that's part of the story of the game. It's not how I would tell it, but it can be told that way. It is what it is. But the defense comes in, clutch, hangs in, and I'll be really honest with you, Leo, when we gave up the onside kick, there was a part of me that was like, oh, man, we're going to lose this game.
Here we go again.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Here we go again. And I can't point to anything specifically that I'm like, this is just like when this happened, but it just felt like the Gunslingers of old would have found a way to give up this win.
They didn't put the metal to the gas? Is that the saying or whatever? Like they were almost losing a little bit.
The defense, the Gunslingers defense of old would have found a way to give up this game. But this defense is way different than the previous year's defenses.
Pedal to the metal is what you're looking for, by the way.
That's what I meant. It was in there somewhere.
Right. No, I understand. James Palmer, how many hearts dropped on that final pass in the end zone? Once he had to scramble around and then just had to toss it up into the end zone, I felt very sure. I felt relatively safe. I mean, crazy things can happen. We see it from time to time, but 80% of Hail Marys fall to the ground. And so that didn't scare me. Once he had to scramble out, I felt good. I felt like we were okay. Nolan Seft, I actually had no complaints about the refs for once. Yes, we have to talk about this because this was a very well officiated game. And we come on here all the time and talk about how mad we are at officials and how bad a job they did. It would only be right for us to come on and go, they were dare I say, excellent, spot on, maybe even perfect in this game. Like they called us when we screwed up. There were some times we did things wrong and we committed penalties, but I didn't see anything. I know that Alex McSwain, by the way, if you don't follow Alex McSwain, you should on Facebook, because he was sharing clips of the game all night long. Very cool feature, part of the IFL Network package that he is a part of, and so many of us are part of. But he shared the pass into the end zone where our player trips over the feet of his defender. That ball was uncatchable. Like, there was no way our receiver is coming down with that ball. And so I don't blame them for not throwing a flag. Plus, it's incidental contact. Their feet just got tangled up. I am totally okay with that. Alex McSwain, I think Josh Thomas from the Panthers will end this season with some IFL accolades. He's a tough opponent. Man, he was their offense last night. If you play them, when you play them later in the season, if you just take that guy out of the equation, you're liable to win. Easy. So James Palmer agreed. I canceled my blind ref outfit. They did a really great job. I thought they did a solid, not just solid. I thought they did an excellent job.
I agree. And I think it was on a third down or fourth down play where one of our defensive linemen jumped and the flag was thrown. And I thought for certain we were going to get an offsides penalty. And they actually called delay of game
yeah,
on the Panthers offense because of the movement from the quarterback, which is a call that I would never think that an IFL official, at least in the Freeman Coliseum, would make that call. Like that just I don't see that happening.
Weston earlier in the show said, let's talk about Guy Myers, our quarterback 2, playing wide receiver after DJ got injured. Also praying for DJ. I hope all is well, brother. We're praying for DJ. But let's talk a little bit about Guy Myers, because Guy Myers was a part of a couple of things that we should talk about. They brought him in some goal line packages. He's a very tall, big guy, and I really felt, Leo, like James Fuller and Tom Manas were setting up Bay Area for later in the game, because every time he got the ball, he ran it. And I was just waiting for that moment that he gets the ball, takes a step toward the line, and then he doesn't even have to do a jump pass because he's taller than everybody on the field. Just launches it over them. After everybody gets sucked in by that one step he takes toward the line, he just drops it over the top of. I really thought they were setting it up. I was waiting for it the whole game, and maybe they were, and maybe I just blew it. I don't know. But I really felt like they were setting it up all game.
Yeah, that could have been the case, and I love Guy Myers. I'm not going to knock the guy, but I will say that they had very little success when they ran out that package. And Guy Myers, as tall as he is, he runs high, very high. He doesn't get low, and that typically doesn't bode well for running situations. Obviously, they see things or they've practiced things in practice that they thought they could be successful with that package, but it was not working in this game.
Nolan Sims said it was too obvious when he came in, though. That's my point.
Yeah.
It's obvious what's going to happen, and then they do it a couple of times, and so you're like, yeah, it's very Days of Thunder. I know Cole. He always goes to the outside. It's one of those moments where, yeah, obviously, this is what we're going to see because this is what they've showed us all game long. And then that's when you hit them with the going high and then going low in my Days of Thunder. I don't know why I got Days of Thunder on the brain. If you have not seen Days of Thunder, go watch that immediately. That's a great movie. But yeah, I agree. It was very obvious what the plan was, which is why I felt like they are just lulling them into this and setting them up so that they can do this little pass over the top of them. Never worked out that way though. Ultimately, we get the win. Leo, are you a little concerned at just 28 points?
A little bit, but not as much as I would be were it not for the situation. Well, of course, now we're going through a coaching change, so there's going to be, a lot of changes
Adjustments.
going on and adjustments. But the situation being that, Malik Henry coming in a week before the season, so now he's in the second week or second 2.5 weeks of being with this team, and he showed some improvement. So you like seeing that. And the fact that he showed some improvement with still being down some major weapons in Naquan Murray and Kali Rashad.
Right. Still haven't seen them yet.
Yeah, who I think are going to be a tremendous assets for the offense upon their return, whenever that may be. I think we've heard that Kali is expected back after the bye week. I don't know if anything has changed there. That's nothing official, but that's what we've heard. I'm not sure on Naquan Murray.
Yeah, I don't know, but I would expect the same sort of thing. I would expect him to be back soon. Can we give all the love in the world, though, to two guys? Hey, Glenn Gibbons is everything he was supposed to be. He has caught 4 touchdowns in 2 games. He is on pace to score, 32 touchdowns this season? I'll take that. Let's let the man score touchdowns. He's been excellent. And Austin Upshaw, a guy that has been a part of this team for a couple of years now, has just balled out in the first 2 games, and has stepped in. You almost feel like with Gibbons and Upshaw, and then adding Naquan Murray and Kali Rashad, then you remember that you've still got guys like DJ Myers that are going to need a place there too, and it's an embarrassment of riches.
If DJ's on the mend, no need to hurry him back. Make sure he's 100% healthy. Yep.
So the offense will get better. I think the offense got better. I think they looked better than they did in week 1.
Yes.
Did they look great?
No.
I hope he doesn't get mad at me for telling stories out of school, but I had a conversation with James Stubing earlier today, and we got to talking about the game. And he said something about the offense and how Malik Henry looked way better than last week. And I go, whoa, pump the brakes. He looked better. I don't know that I would qualify it as way better, but there was improvement. And he said, you're right. I'm sorry. That's more correct. So look, they were better. And now they have 2 weeks off to work together. They get these 2 guys back. We would assume Naquan and Kali Rashad. And then we really get to see, as we go to Arizona and take on the champions, what we're dealing with on the offensive side. Don't you think?
Yep.
Nolan Sift, I want jump balls to Guy Myers immediately. Yes. That dude don't even have to jump to get up over the top of defenders on him. Weston, after the way our defense performed last year, we did exactly what we said we were going to do. We overhauled the defense, and it's worked out perfectly for us. Our offense needs some work, but like I said earlier, head coach Fuller is an offensive guy. Our quarterback is settling in, and hopefully Kali and Naquan will be back soon. I'll go 100. A step further, Weston, and tell you that all the time I've been around football, and I think I even alluded to this last year about this time, defenses are kind of what they are when you start the season. Offenses can improve.
Right.
Your defense that you walk into the season with, unless you make big sweeping changes, which is what we had to do last year, your defense kind of is what it is, and it is going to be that. But offenses can improve and gel and work together and get better through the first half of the season. And so where we are as a team, I'm real confident because I know it can work that way. Last year, our offense was cooking. Our defense was not good. That made me
Right.
very nervous. I didn't like that.
And the reason for that is because defense is primarily scheming and reaction.
Right.
While offense, timing is huge for offensive football, and that takes time to develop, which is why things are only going to improve for Malik Henry as he gets more times with these receivers, as that timing kind of gets down and they kind of learn how to play with each other. And with more weapons coming out that are going to be at his disposal, I have high hopes, and I do expect this offense to be much improved in the next 2-3 weeks. And the defense is already spectacular. I mean, 5 stops, 5 by my count.
Yep.
5 defensive stops in this game. That hardly ever happens in indoor football. They came up huge. Various Rivers, beast.
Jones and Jones again.
Mm-hmm.
Just James Palmer, it still seems like something's off with Henry. Man, 2 weeks.
Timing.
2 weeks?
It's the timing.
2 weeks. If we still feel this way after the bye week, maybe we start getting nervous and start going, maybe they need to do something at quarterback. But I don't think you're going to see that. I think as he gets more and more comfortable with the guys he's throwing to and the guys protecting him, I think we're going to see him settle in a way that you're going to be real happy with. Shout out to Randy for being at the game. Randy Carroll was at the game.
Yeah.
Our boy Robert Seco got to go out to California and be part of the crew. He was with the game. James Palmer, yeah, Leo, but how many stops did Bay Area have on us?
I didn't count those. Yeah. I'm not sure. Didn't count them. Don't care.
We are fans here. We don't want facts to get in the way of our story. Come on now.
We don't want statistics.
Zach Brown, the one-man band, checking in. Hey, what's up, everybody? Hey, Zach.
AZB.
And I don't want him to think I'm ignoring him. Nolan Simt, hey, I hate to have to repeat anything, but why the coaching change? I think we will circle back around near the end of the show here and talk a little bit more about this coaching change. We're kind of focusing in on the game right now and talking about some of that, but we will probably circle back around to that. Suffices to say, we don't have a whole lot more information than is available out in the press release, but we will talk a little bit more about it as we finish up with the game. Well, are you comfortable, Leo, going into Arizona, going into some of these games that we have coming up with the team that you have right now? Are there changes you would make right now?
No, I wouldn't make any changes other than bringing Kali and Naquan off IR. But
yes, obviously,
when they do that, understand with roster limitations, that does mean they're going to have to make the space. That's what. Yes. I have no idea.
And those are two veterans.
We'll find out. Yes, they're both veterans.
Someone's going to have to move.
Big decisions coming up for Coach Fuller and his staff.
For James Stubing. James Stubing has assumed the general manager position. So he will work, I'm sure, in concert with James Fuller, and they will put the best team they can on the field with this silly veteran rule that the IFL has forced us into. I've already done one rant to the IFL today. I will not get on my soapbox on that rant. Zach Brown says San Antonio Gunslingers will still be a championship team. Love to hear that. Zach Brown, part of the crew that came in with Tom Manas last year, just didn't work out here. Where are you playing at now, Zach? I'm sorry I haven't been able to keep up, but let us know where you are, because I want to check in and I want to cheer for your success, just like I do for so many that are gunslingers or were gunslingers. Will DJ go on IR?
Yeah, that's a possibility, depending on his injury.
Alex, I don't know what the injury looks like, but I will tell you that if he were to go on IR, that is a veteran slot that opens up for Naquan Murray or Kali Rashad to take on your game day roster. So if he needed to go on IR, that would help at least for the short term in some of the decision making that you have to make. Zach Brown with the Columbus Lions, they're in the NAL. Make sure you follow them. They're doing fairly well, I believe, in the NAL, if I remember off the top of my head. Upcoming schedule. Oh, by the way, you know what's really important about the way things have gone? If you'd have told me at the beginning of the year we'd be 1-1 at this point in the season, I would have taken that. But you know what? It's better than I would have thought, because I would have thought we would have beat Tulsa.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bay Area, being a team that won the championship 2 years ago and was infused with a lot of Northern Arizona talent from last year, which was a very good team. It's a good, solid team last year. Chase Risman mentioned they were the team that kept us out of the playoffs ultimately.
Right.
If you'd have told me that the 1-1 would be we won against Tulsa and we lost to Bay Area, I would have said, yeah, that's probably right. This is better, way better. And Leo, you know why, don't you?
Yeah, because it's conference.
Yep.
Yep.
The loss is out of conference. The win is in conference.
Yep.
That means a lot. So I'll take it. I'll take the 1-1, and I'll take the conference game being the win.
Right.
Alex McSwain says San Antonio's gone toe-to-toe with two very tough teams. They have.
I agree. I think Tulsa's a lot tougher this year than some people thought they would be.
They've got a dang good quarterback. Just a dang good quarterback coming from Frisco. Part of me kind of wishes that maybe we had anyway, we didn't. It's fine. I'm trying to pull up Tulsa's record. They played this week. I'm just trying to figure out what may have happened in that game. Do you remember, Leo?
No. I'm trying to pull it up, but I'm getting the spinny spin.
Yeah, it must be something wrong with the IFL website, because I'm getting the spinny spin too. This site can't be reached. Uh-oh. Nolan Sept, I'm so tired of dealing with TJ Edwards. It's not going to get any better. We still got to play him 2 more times this season. So just be ready. They did not play this week, it looks like. They may have been on a bye this week. They play April 4th against Fisher Freight. That is their next game.
Yeah, you're right. 1-0. Yep.
So they're 1-0. Yeah, and they look like they haven't missed a step in game 1. You're talking about the Arizona Rattlers. You're Michael Wayne Davis, which, by the way, hey, Michael Wayne, haven't seen you in a while. Good to catch up with you. Didn't the Arizona Rattlers start out slow last year? They did indeed. Yes. Very slow. They had a rough
Did they
first.
play the Skulls this weekend or no?
Yes, that sounds right.
And I think I saw a little bit of that game, and it was packed.
Yes, Tucson Sugar Skulls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
56-28 was the final.
But the stadium or wherever they played, it was packed.
Yes, they did. Yeah, they played Tucson. Tucson has struggled over the last couple of seasons, and I don't get the impression that they fixed any of those issues. So now we go into a bye week, and it becomes a really, really important bye week.
A well-timed bye week.
A well-timed bye week. A bye week we needed more than we knew, apparently. And so this is, I guess, where we circle back around and we talk once again about the news that broke earlier today that Tom Manas has been relieved of his duties as the general manager and head coach of the San Antonio Gunslingers. One of the questions that came out of our conversation earlier that I never got around to, Alex McSwain, asking any word from Ralph if he'll continue with Brandon. Well, no, I have not talked to Ralph about Brandon. However, I have talked to the organization about Brandon, and they led me to believe that Brandon is still a go. It will become Ralph's show, and Ralph will lead that show with different guests from time to time. There is no commitment right now to have James Fuller on there all the time, but he will be a part of that show as well. But Brandon will become the a Ralph show. Ralph Judkins will be in charge of running and
Ralph.
leading that show, and we do. We love Ralph.
Ralph is the man.
He's an excellent student of the game.
Mm-hmm.
He spends a lot of time preparing and getting things ready. And you've seen him here on our show, and we love having him on anytime he's willing to come on. And he will get an opportunity to be a little more freer with his analysis and his opinion. He will still be on the team's official show, so he may not be unvarnished or anything, but he will get an opportunity to share his opinion and his own thoughts a little more freely than he ever has before, I believe.
Yes.
I feel like you two are my brothers and he's my cousin.
Ralph is great. Ralph has forgot more about indoor football than a lot of us know.
And Ralph would want me to tell you, and Ralph would want me to say that a big reason he knows as much as he does about the indoor football game is because he learned under the wing for 2.5 years of Tom Menas. The thing you may not know is that Tom and Ralph had a relationship for about a year before Ralph even connected, or before Tom connected with the Gunslingers. They got each other's contact information, and Tom showed Ralph how to parse video, what to watch when he's watching video. A lot of the knowledge that Ralph has of the indoor game came from Tom Menas before he was ever the Gunslinger head coach. And so he owes a lot, and I don't think I'm speaking out of school to say he owes a lot to Tom Menas, and it will be different for him to go on the air without Tom, but he'll do a great job. And part of the reason he'll do a great job is because Tom has taught him so much about the game. Ralph will be prepared as normal. Missions Highlighter has done this a couple of times where he's just said gulp. Oh, he's talking about you drinking out of your giant cup.
He does it every time I take a drink out of my giant Batman mug, which I brought the giant Batman mug back to the show intentionally.
Yeah.
Because I brought it to the show last week, and what happened?
We won.
We got to win.
Right.
I am a
Not that we're superstitious or anything.
Yeah, I am a typical sports fan, and I know we don't play this week, but I'm going to carry it over until we don't get a positive result for the week with the Gunslingers. I have to.
Well, I wore this hat last time, so I'm going to keep wearing it.
There you go.
And you wore the jersey.
And this hat. I guess we're all kind of feeling a little superstitious.
We're all logged in.
Plus, I just love this jersey, and this I've already mentioned before. This is my favorite hat. This is in my regular hat rotation. James Palmer
speaking of merchandise, did you see that claw that the Panthers had? I really like that.
Yeah, I
will say, compared to like other games that I've watched, they did have some good merchandise. The kids were wearing that gold chain with that panther. They had that foam, like hook or like paw. Then even like some of the females had the jerseys. So I will give them a thumbs up because in the past, other games that I've seen, hardly any merchandise. I've always bragged that we are the best when it comes to our merchandise. And I'm not going to even say they come close second, third, fourth, or fifth, but at least I saw some. So I was impressed by that slightly. The cheerleaders, we don't have to talk about that.
Let me ask you guys a question about merchandise. I thought about this earlier today, and I didn't know if we'd have time to bring it up. And then big things happened, and so I thought we might go through the show without talking about it. But Jordan's standard for our fan jerseys is that he does logo on the front with a number on the back. Is there part of you that wants him to occasionally change that up and do number on front and back like a traditional football jersey look? Is there part of you that's like, hey, not every time, but every once in a while, can you give us just a standard like football jersey look with the number on the front and back? Am I totally off base here? Like,
I mean, yeah, why not? I think most of the stuff he's put out has that like this cool Deadpool jersey I'm wearing right now. You know, he's showcasing the design in the front instead of the number. And if you put the number there, well, then you're not showcasing a design. So, but yeah, I mean, just your more standard type jersey would I think would sell very well as well.
Maybe once in a while.
Alex McSwain says, not unless it's an exact replica like they did a few years ago.
That would be cool.
And then maybe not the number of the year. James Palmer says, you're not going to get away with that because he wants you to buy one every year.
Yeah.
Hello.
So he's going to keep doing
Marketing
the year
tool.
because he needs your money, man. He's got to make this cool merchandise, and that takes money to make it. So he's going to keep putting the year on it. I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. But he's going to need the money. It's just something I thought of earlier this weekend or today. And then with everything else breaking, I thought, man, we probably won't talk about it. But since we got onto merchandise, I was like, it'd be nice occasionally just to see that standard sort of football look of the number on front and back. But I get what he's doing with the logo, the Deadpool logo or the Wolverine logo, which the Wolverine is one of my favorites. I can't believe I haven't worn it lately. James Palmer says some fans like having the numbers of the players. That's true. That's very true. So, as we begin to wrap things up, and as you all start to think about what your bullseye and bullspit for the week would be for week 2 in the IFL, as we move into a bye week, Leo and RC, I want to ask you, and then I'll answer. What is your comfort level right now? We are 1-1. Our offense is not scoring the points like they have in the past. Our defense is locking things down, and we are going through a tumultuous coaching change early in the season. So all of those things combined on a scale of 1 to 10, RC, what is your comfort level with where we are as a team right now, as a fan of this franchise?
There's a lot of factors like you just mentioned, but I'm going to go with the number 6. I'm thinking positive. I think after the bye week and after we see the new coaching staff, then that number may go up. But right now, I'm a solid 6.
A 6.
A 6.
Oh, Leo's right there with you. Leo,
she's
also
right.
A 6.
She's right. Let me put it this way. Before the news dropped, the big news of the day, you asked me that question, I would have said a 7. But after that news, and not because I don't have confidence in Coach Fuller or anybody else or the direction of this team, but because it just presents more challenges. It's going to be more adjustments, more challenges, and sometimes those things take a little bit of time. So I would say 6 because of that change, because that is a huge change. You can't deny that it's not a huge change. Yeah, it is a huge change. It's a huge factor. Nothing against, like I said, I'm not questioning the current trajectory or current leadership or why they made the change. I'm behind the change. If the organization saw it fit to make it, now is the time to do it before the bye week. Yes, I think Coach Fuller will do well, but adjustments take time. And that was the reason why, I would have been a 7 instead of an 8, because if we had been with a quarterback that had spent the entire offseason with the organization in training camp, and we were at where we are right now, that would have dropped it down a notch even more. But we're not. We're with a quarterback that's only been here for, 2.5 weeks, not even 3 full weeks. So that's why I would have said 7. But after the news today, it's 6, but it's still positive. And I expect it to go up But
Yes, most
realistically,
definitely.
if I had to put a notch in it and give it a number, I'd give it a 6. But what's the word? Positive 6, or a positive outlook
Positive
6.
6.
It's not negative.
I am in agreement with you part of the way. I would have said 7 earlier today. I won't say 7. I'm at an
You going
8.
lower than 6?
I'm at an 8. And I'll tell you why.
8.
I'll tell you why. I'll explain to you why. This is not an indictment on Tom Menas at all. I don't want anybody to hear that. Me going, we got rid of Tom Menas. We're even better. That's not what I think. But I do think that huge changes like this mid-season, right after a win, have the ability to galvanize a team together in a special way that nothing else can do. This is a special kind of adversity that most teams do not go through. And I believe in our coaching staff and our players that they are going to galvanize together because of this big change. So this change does not lower it does not make me more anxious. It leads me to believe they have the opportunity right now to galvanize together in a special way and go, hey, we've got to do this on our own. We can no longer lean on the two-time champion head coach and just believe that he's got it all figured out. We now have to do some of this on our own and take bigger shares of what's going to happen. We've got to have each other's backs in a way we did not before, and we've got to step up our game that much more because now we are missing the coach that brought us to this point. And hey, whether they're happy about the decision or not happy about it, I'm sure that if you ask guys in the locker room and they were honest with you, you would get about a 50-50 split. I bet there are guys tonight that are hearing this news that are like, oh, thank God. And there are also guys that are going, what are we going to do? And those guys will lean on each other in a way that nothing else can do. This is like losing your star quarterback in the season, and you see teams that begin to rally around who was the quarterback that went into the playoffs, the backup quarterback, and ends up winning the Super Bowl for the Eagles a couple of years, Nick Foles. You have those kind of moments. These kind of things happen where a big thing that really should knock you down ends up bringing your team together in a special way. And I truly believe James Fuller and the rest of that coaching staff know how to leverage this into an opportunity and not a problem. And so I would have been a 7 at the start of the day. And now I will ramp that up, not because Tom Menas is gone, but because they have an opportunity now to grow together in a way they never would have if things had stayed back. That's
you
me.
said mid-season. You think 2 games is mid-season?
Well, we are in the middle. We are not. No, beginning. I don't know. It's
I would say
early
more
season.
I
But
mean, I think 1-1 means we're almost back at 0. We're at the starting line.
And Lily's has made her decision. She's with me. She agrees with me, Leo, not you.
That's fine.
She says sorry about that.
It's
Hollywood.
okay.
Hollywood says I'm exactly the opposite. Before today's announcement, I was at a 5. Maybe we've improved, maybe not. Now I expect there will be major improvement with a change in coaching staff. So she's more in line with my idea of thinking. She agrees with me. She says there. Weston says 9.
I want to hear everyone's opinion.
Weston says 9, and maybe because I'm biased because I work for the team, but I also think if you know Fuller, Johnson, and Bain, you'll know these guys are motivated to win. I haven't talked to them since before Menas departed, but I bet they are more motivated than ever. I don't mean any shade to Menas, but I think that there is now a fresh start with fresh ideas of how to operate our team. I'm excited to see what the new coaching staff does.
Love that.
Mo Ferrante,
I think we can go up from here. Definitely go up from here.
Sure. Mo Ferrante, I'm excited, but also nervous. Raul Nava, hey, good to see you, Raul.
Hey,
Been a
Raul.
while. It should push the guys to do better now that they know everyone is replaceable, including the head coach, like today. That's an interesting way. Jen Bonamo says, I probably killed her last name. I'm sorry, Jen. Don't forget, these coaches have been working with these players every day. They're just in different positions now. You're right. Alex McSwain, I'm sure there are some great defensive minds who lost jobs with ups and downs in the AF1 as teams struggle to stay afloat. I'm hoping a guy or two can come in. That's possible, but man, we have a lot of good pieces on already.
It'd be hard pressed to decide. I like I said earlier, I have no idea what they're going to do to make room for Kali and Naquan.
James Palmer, our good friend James Palmer, was thinking 7, and that's only because it's only that high because of the defense.
The defense is, you can't argue with that.
You can't. The defense is absolutely spectacular. And there is part of me that goes, but the defense was all Tom and us. So do we lose that? Do we lose some of that potency on defense because we lost the guy calling the plays? I think it is fair to share that concern or to have that concern. Bull's eye and bull spit. The best thing about the weekend, the worst thing about the weekend. Go ahead and get yours in. I've got one already from Alex McSwain. I'll start there. Bullseye, the win. Getting the win in San Jose. Bull spit, having 2 wide receivers on IR, and then maybe having to have one more depending on DJ's health. I agree. That's rough, but I think they'll be coming back off of IR very, very soon. Bob Book joining us. Jacksonville Sharks show, Inside the Sharks. I'm not sure what day you have your show. Let us know so we can talk about it. Coach Johnson is a great defensive coach. Lee Johnson will be handling the defense from this point forward, and he is a good coach. I have faith that he will be able to continue to lead this defense. This Lolis Yamas lady asks a question. Leo, do you know this person? Do you think Manas will try to take his players back? Look, anything is possible. First, he's got to have a place to take them to.
That's number one.
As far as I know, he doesn't have that. I don't think it'll take him long to find something.
No, it won't be long, probably.
We'll find a home soon.
But first, he has to have a place to take them to. And second, it has to be a better situation for them than San Antonio.
And that's
Gunslinger Nation, the Racklers, the Steubings, and an amazing group of fans. And he's got to go out there and find something better. Do I think eventually Tom Manas could go somewhere and using some of the ideas that helped create what we have here in
culture,
San Antonio, some of that culture somewhere else? Yes, but that takes time to build too. So whatever he goes into, I don't think is going to be as good a situation as they will experience here. So I'm not that worried about that. It's possible, but I'm not that worried about it. Inside the Sharks Monday at 8 p.m. You need to be watching, you need to be listening, you need to be paying attention to the Sharks. They're on our schedule this year, and we have to beat them. We have to beat them because they're the Sharks, and we don't want them to win. We don't want to listen to Bob and Jim Murnay and all of those people come talk to us if they win. We have to beat them.
We do like your interactions, though.
James Palmer, they being players won't be treated as well, and the few places they might be won't be able to have a new coach anytime soon. It's very possible. Mission's Highlighter says, hey, if y'all are both on Monday nights, when we get to game time, we should have a crossover show. Hey, Bob, that's a great idea. We need to put something together on that. Run our shows concurrently on each other's feeds and just talk about the whole game in that week leading up to the game. He says, thanks. We just had a nonprofit group fighting for childhood cancer. If anybody would go back and watch the story that broke last year,
I remember that story.
Leo to leukemia, a Shark fan that was a child that didn't even get to live his life. There you go. James Palmer, crossover show. Bob Book says we can do that. We'll make that happen. Alex McSwain,
Nice.
the only thing better than a gunslinger organization is the NFL. And that's just because they have hundreds of millions or billions of dollars.
Truth.
I agree. I tend to agree. Mo Ferrante, bullseye, getting the needed win. Bull spit, missing number 5 on the field. We need to have 5 on it.
I concur.
Can't wait.
Cannot wait. Last few minutes to get in your bullseye and bull spit. I will give you mine. My bullseye is our defense. It is just nearly a perfect defensive game. Even the times they gave up plays, or even the times Bay Area made plays, they had to make the plays. They weren't given anything. This defense did not give them a thing.
Nothing.
They had to go out and earn those 21 points. Hard fought. 21 points. And for where we've been defensively before, that is my bullseye. And I cannot wait to keep building on this defense. My bull spit, if you were with us earlier in the show, you will know I am not very happy with the IFL. And I need them to put together an IFL app, IFL network app for my Roku TV. And they need to do that post haste. I do not want to have to try to watch another Gunslinger game. So you got 2 weeks. The way I did this week. Fix it. Philip says so. If anybody asks you, why is this so important? Why is this something that we have to do before April 10th? You tell them Philip said.
Because Philip said so.
Because
He
Philip
needs a
wants it
Roku
done.
app. Philip wants it done, and that's why
That's
we're going
right.
to get it done. That's my bull spit. I got really frustrated with trying to cast this game to my TV, and I just need an app that works. I just need an app that works. Get it going. 2 weeks. You got 2 weeks. Don't make me come on here after we beat Arizona and tell you that I had more trouble. Don't make me do it.
They're shaking in their boots.
Bob Book says it's coming. I believe it's coming, but it needs to be here. Mr. Tyletter, yes, Roku. James Palmer, because Skinny Phil doesn't have a browser on his TV. Maybe I do. You know what occurs to me is I could just do it on my Xbox. Like I could watch it through my Xbox, but I didn't do that. And I shouldn't have to. They should have an app for me.
Just for you.
Yes.
Give me a Roku app or get off my lawn.
What Philip wants, Philip gets, unless it's a Generation 1 camouflage Gunslingers hat.
Right? It's true. You're not wrong. I did not get that. Bob Book says HDMI cable is much easier. No, it's not, because then I got to stand up and walk over and do anything that I need to change on the laptop. That is not easier. I got a remote in my hand. I should be able to control everything with the remote in my hand. That's what the remote was made for. Are paywalls killing fans' involvement and the sport in general? We talked about this a couple of weeks ago as they introduced the IFL network. I am okay with a paywall because I am willing to invest in a sport I love. If you are not, that's the level of fan you are. And your fan involvement means less to this league and should, because you're not willing to give them the resources they need to grow their league. Hard to swallow pills, but it is what it is.
So that brings up a point with the IFL network.
Yes.
Everybody notice that this was the first time, I believe this was the first time of an away game for the Gunslingers that there was no watch party announced. I don't know. I
That was
don't
gonna
have
be
any
my
inside
bull's
information.
spit.
Oh, that I don't have any inside information to support this, but I think it might have something to do with the league wanting to promote the IFL network. And if fans are going to watch at watch parties for all the away games, then they're not necessarily doing that. And so I don't know if this is a league mandate or it was just bad timing. These people, the Racklers, the Stubings, they are people just like us, human beings that have lives and families and stuff. And it could have just been bad timing to put together a watch party. But the timing was interesting, and I wondered if that had something to do with it.
That
Bob,
was my bull spit, because I miss that. I miss us getting together. Sometimes there was a bunch of us, sometimes it was a handful, but the fact that we could get together, we had a place, it was organized, it was safe, it was fun, there was giveaways. I like that. I love that, and I did miss that.
Weston checking in, and he would know, said being late on a school night had something to do with it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, timing was bad.
Alex McSwain also said perhaps being late on a Sunday night when people having school and work the day after impacted that. Yep, entirely possible.
How many people watch football on Sunday nights? It starts at 7 p.m.
You're not wrong, but I mean that's not necessarily the audience that you're talking about. You're talking about families. Like we gather families together for watch parties on.
Yeah.
You're not a bunch of guys sitting around the bar. James Palmer says, I think if we want a watch party, us fans need to set it up. You can try, but I'm going to tell you right now that getting a decent venue to allow you to take over their TVs to show what you want to show may be harder than you imagine. The Gunslingers have some pull because they can put their organization behind it. Fans in general, this isn't broadcast on CBS Sports or Fox or ESPN like the UFL is. By the way, never been gladder I don't have to talk about the UFL. The Brahmas did not look good. Anyway, moving on.
That was rough.
Yeah, squeeze that in there.
Anyway, it's a little more difficult. You're talking about them having to broadcast something in a more difficult way. I think you would find some static if you tried to do that as a fan, but I don't think anybody's stopping you. If you want to do that in the league, the team is not able to do that, then maybe that'll work out. You, James Palmer, of all people, have connections to the team where you can see if that would be something worthwhile to do, or if they're planning on putting something together for that game against Arizona on the 12th.
I would go to Gunslinger Nation and watch it there.
Yeah, but then they got to bring in food and drink and all that kind of stuff. Most of those places have browsers on their TV. All right. Who's winning tonight? Vegas or Jacksonville? That's right. There's still Monday Night Football when we're done with the show here. Alex McSwain said, mentioned off the record last year, but I'd definitely come to a Gunslinger Nation watch party. Just an idea for you guys at Gunslinger Nation. RC, what was your bullseye? We heard about your bull spit.
Of course, the win. That was a no-brainer, the win.
Oh, you're right, Bob. It's Vegas and San Diego. It's not Vegas and Jacksonville. Vegas and San Diego play tonight at 9 o'clock Central Time. So here in just a few minutes, they'll kick off. Weston, I'm with RC. We should make it like a tailgate party. You know what? I have it on very good authority that you guys have a huge blow-up screen that could be set up on the field at Gunslinger Nation with a projector, and you could do a whole tailgating thing on the field at Gunslinger Nation and show off. That's a thing.
Let's do it.
I don't know. Saying,
I know you cool. Have it.
Fields are expensive, man. I don't know if they want people trudging up and down that with
on the practice field
shoes and their chairs. Yeah, I don't know.
Nah, they can put it on practice.
Blankets only then.
So I'll say my bullseye and bull spit.
Yes. What are your bullseye?
Bullseye. I can't say anything other than what you said, Philip. It has to be the defense.
Yeah.
That was my bullseye.
Definitely.
Spectacular. Like I said earlier, 5 stops in the game. They were just incredible. Like, this defense is something special if they continue to play at this level. Knocking on wood, hoping that they will. And then my bull spit was DJ Myers going down early, getting hurt like that, and just hoping that he's okay.
Yeah.
That is my bull spit, but my secondary one is no stats once again from the IFL, which I mentioned earlier. That's annoying. That's irritating. You need those.
That's 2 different bull spits that are on the IFL. Come on, league, get it together.
Come on.
Come on now. So, with all that being said, we got any more to cover?
Well, I don't know about to cover, but maybe we can ask, because next week is a bye week, who the fans would want to see as one of our special guests maybe for next week.
Yeah, I mean, we can always ask. Like,
we can always
nothing wrong with
ask.
asking. I will tell you that some of the guests I want to get for next week, I've already percolated on my mind. I'll throw them out there just in case they're listening or somebody that knows them is listening, so they can tell them I might be calling. I would love to have James Fuller.
Yeah.
Try to join us.
That'd be
That'd be
awesome.
a good one.
The new
I have been jonesing for a long time to have Robert Seco on the show.
Oh, that would be a good one.
So those are 2 guys I was kind of thinking of.
Jonathan Bain?
You know, we need to have Jonathan Bain on the show sometime soon.
We do.
He has the player and the coach opinions.
Yeah, he does, because he's just coming off being a player, and now he is part of the coaching staff here. Weston says, I'll get with the team, see what we can make happen for watch parties. We can get venue. We need attendance. So he's saying, if we put it together, y'all better show up.
I'll be there.
Seco would be good. He just traveled with the team. That's what I was thinking. It'd be kind of nice to get his perspective.
Yes.
We did that when Ralph got to travel with the team. We brought Ralph on to see what his things were. Jessica Palmer says the venue is GSN. Weston, I think they're really loving this idea of tailgating party at GSN.
Hey, you could sell. You have the merch store there, so you won't have to lug merch around or anything.
It's true.
Yep.
That's true.
I think an obvious one for guests would be Malik Henry. I think would be a great one. New starting quarterback, and ask him, why San Antonio, what was involved in that decision.
Missions Highlighter says, I don't know if it's a bull spit, but I blame one guy for losing Coach Tom Menas. Fire Nico Harris. We traded Luca, and now we lost Menas. Missions Highlighter is my Mavericks buddy. So yeah, it's been tough. It's been a tough season for my Mavericks. And this is all Nico Harris's fault. No, I agree. With all that being said, when it comes to the best indoor football experience, it is not found up in Massachusetts.
Nope.
You could go look in Arizona. There are 3 different spots you could try to hit. You could run over to San Diego or go up to Vegas. But if you're looking for the best indoor football experience anywhere, the 210 has got something to say.
Bang, bang.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Big news today. You've heard, I think, all you're going to hear from the team on it. They're going to move forward from this point. You may hear more from Tom at some point, but I think if you're hoping to hear a word from the team, you've heard it. I don't think you're going to get a whole lot more than you've got. And that is as it should be. We're moving forward. There's no reason to talk about the past. It's time to move forward and get rolling. I'm excited about James Fuller taking over. I think he's an absolutely excellent coach. And I would have been happy when they signed Tom Menas, when James Stubing called me and said, who would you want more than anybody in the world to be the head coach of the San Antonio Gunslingers, which is how that conversation went down. And I said, I want Tom Manasse. If he'd have said, yeah, well, we couldn't get him, but we got James Fuller, I would have been stoked. I would have been absolutely stoked about that. So absolutely excited. While we've been on the air, they posted a graphic announcing him as, again, the head coach, not the interim head coach, which I think is a big thing. I think that's a big deal.
I love the confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Please do us a favor and like and rate and review and share and do all of the things that you do with other podcasts. We need that help. We need the Gunslingers want you to do that because they want our show to get out there in front of as many people as they can, and algorithms love it when people like, rate, and review and share. So please do that with the show. I will do better this week at getting it out in a timely manner. I almost missed it again last week. I will make sure that it gets out first thing tomorrow. By lunchtime, you will see it. Please download it because, again, algorithms love seeing downloads and downloads all at once. Even if you were with us all night, please download it just so we get that number. And thank you so much for sticking with us. It is a new era in Gunslingers football. We've been here before, folks. I didn't say this on the live part of the show, but this is still going out to Facebook. But I would like to remind anyone that was there and let anyone that know that wasn't there know. The very first San Antonio Gunslingers game was a loss, and it was embarrassing. At the end of that game, the head coach, Tony Hernandez, and the ownership at the time decided to part ways. That was the best thing that could have happened for that team that year.
That's true.
Coach Q came in. We got the very next win, and they were a really solid team. They came one game short of playing for the championship in the AAL that season. So I think that there is opportunity coming here, and we've been down this road before. And as much as I think Tom Manasse did wonderful things for our organization, I think that if James and Don tell me this is the best thing for the franchise, my inclination at this point is to trust them.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's what I'm going
On
to do.
that note, good night, Leo. I hope you feel better.
Thank you.
Good night, folks. Good night, everybody.
Good night.